Welcome back everyone to GLiiDeR TV. Today I'm here with Scruffle and we are going to be doing a review for Gears 5.
It's developed by the Coalition Studios at Microsoft, and it's out now on Xbox and PC.
Today we're going to be going over the campaign and what our thoughts were of it, and then at the end we're going to do our overall thoughts of Gears 5 in general, and then our final scorings too.
Alright guys, so to start off, we'd like to give a little summary of the Gears 5 campaign. Most of the time you'll be playing as Kate, and her mission is to essentially just figure out why she's having all these mental breakdowns, if you will,
and visions.
And if you've played Gears 4, you'll know why. You'll kind of get a hint as to why she's enduring all these weird visions. So yes, most of the story is focused on Kate, but there's also a side plot with the Hammer of Dawn, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, that's just a little general summary to avoid spoilers. So yeah, let's get started with graphics. I guess that's the first thing you notice with this game. What'd you think of the graphics as far as the resolution? Obviously, it's running in 4K.
Yeah.
And it's running in a smooth 60 FPS the entire campaign.
It was very smooth. Like, just starting the game already, you can already see how, like, there's sun rays going through, like, some, like, smoke or fog or whatever. And I thought that was so cool because it looked so real. And especially, like, there's areas where there's water. And the water looked crystal clear and looked like actual water.
Right.
Like in a little pond that you would see that's so clear, and you can see the rocks on the bottom. I thought that was just so amazing, and just starting the game, I was just like going through it very slowly because
the very first mission.
Yeah, the very first mission. Holy crap! Like, it was just amazing.
The very first mission, you start by rappelling down into like this cave.
Yeah.
This really green, like a lot of vegetation and like waterfall. There's a waterfall, and like it's just a beautiful, like the most beautiful cave you've ever seen. But yeah, like that's the very first thing you see in the campaign, and it's just like wow. And like Ruby said, the lighting's insane. Honestly, I think this is probably the best a lighting engine can get without using ray tracing technology. If you're familiar with ray tracing, that's going to become a more prominent technology in the future with future games and like the next generation consoles and stuff. But as far as without ray tracing, this is probably as good as lighting can get. And yeah, so graphics for me, 10 out of 10. This is probably one of the best looking games ever created. I'd probably say it's on par with the recent God of War. Maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 probably has the better art direction, but it's up there with those games for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree. Even though I've watched you play God of War a little bit, but like comparing that to this one, I really like this one a lot more. Just mainly because like throughout the chapters and acts, there's many spots where you're in a dust storm, and in that dust storm you see little rays of lights coming through, and there's like in the open world area there was like another, it was when you were in like the wind flare.
Yeah. And
you're going through that whole wind flare, and I remember I saw a little spot of circle on the top and a sun ray going straight through, and I was just thinking like, wow, like that's just so awesome.
Yeah, and the lighting and the graphics all just feeds into the immersion of the game, leading into the cinematic stuff, I guess you can say. You know, the cinematics and music and basically everything that comes together to make up the story. Like, what are your thoughts on how that all played out? How it was, as far as the direction and how the characters interacted with each other?
With the characters, it was more of like getting to know the character. And it was like something that I like about this game, because you're getting to know Kate a little bit more. You're getting to know Del a lot more, which I like. So it made me like Del a lot. And, you know, and also Marcus. Marcus was like really cool in this game. Yeah. The way his character is, should I say like he's like a father figure?
Yeah, he's ish. Like the father figure. They're really old grizzly veteran.
Mm-hmm. And then there's like a new character named Foz. And his character's so cool. I like his accent. He's like really mean towards them, but just like in a sarcastic way. So he kind of brings a good feel to the game. And I don't know. I just think like the characters were cool, and also the character development throughout the story was just amazing.
Yeah, that's one thing that this game really improved on over Gears 4. Gears 4, Del, JD, and Kate were introduced, and they were fine in Gears 4. They were just kind of like the conduit for the story to be told, but they didn't really have the same like draw as like Marcus and Dom from the original trilogy. So Gears 4 kind of lacked in that aspect, but Gears 5 definitely brought the character development a lot more for these characters. And Del and Kate, you spend a lot of time as playing with them, and you definitely get to learn a little more with Kate and Del throughout the open area sections. As you visit these different little side missions and stuff, Del and Kate kind of talk about a little bit about their past and memories that they've had in these in these areas, or just stories in general. Like and these little story beats reminded me a lot of like The Last of Us and God of War, when you're kind of just exploring and the characters talk to each other about, like in The Last of Us per se, Joel like teaches Ellie about like how the world used to be and stuff like that. The Kate and Del relationship really mirrored, like paralleled that in a way, and it did a lot for their characters. And JD, he was probably the least interesting character in Gears 4, but they did a lot to really make him an engaging character as well. Like towards the end of the game, you really start to care for him as well, and the relationship that he has with Del and Kate.
Yeah. I think with Gears 5, like Gears 4, you didn't feel an attachment to the characters, but now in Gears 5, you feel an attachment for all characters, even Jack.
Yeah. And well, this is a bit of a spoiler, but you learn... Well, it's not much of a spoiler. We won't spoil it, but just to give a little tidbit about Kate, you also find out more about her origin if you played Gears 4, which was really satisfying. You learn a little bit more about her origin and what that origin grew to be in the future, I guess you can say. And it was really, really cool to see that. It was like Act 3, I think, where you learn...
Yeah.
Or Act 2, Act 3, where you learn about... her past, her family's history, I guess you can say. So as far as character development, really awesome. And the cinematics, like the cutscenes and all that stuff, really, really, really great. Oh, and we forgot to talk about the robot, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
He's like your sidekick throughout the whole story. And he actually brings the RPG elements into the game, which we'll talk about in a little bit in our gameplay section.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack was a really cool character. He doesn't talk or anything, but he kind of has like that R2-D2.
Yeah, he reminded me a lot of R2, because like when like Del, Kate, or JD like talk to him, he just goes
yeah. And like with just his beeps and like the movement of his little eyes, you can tell what his expression is.
And in the game, he kind of like he hides his face a little bit like a little kid. It's so
like,
funny.
Towards the beginning of the game, somebody says something that kind of makes him sad, and his eyes like move to like a really sad position.
Yeah, they got really droopy.
It looks so funny. But yeah, I love Jack, and it's really cool because you get to play as him if you play co-op. Like one of the third player or second or third player can play as him in co-op, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then also like in the campaign, if you're playing with 3 people, And if the other person finds a collectible of like a component of Jack, you also get it too.
So I guess that's a good segue into the gameplay section, like how the game feels, some of the game mechanics and systems. Um, how do you feel that this game compared to like Gears 4? I guess you can say gameplay wise.
Gameplay.
Because obviously the shooting mechanics are pretty similar,
Yeah.
more refined, I guess you can say. But overall, the shooting mechanics are pretty similar. But the campaign did bring really interesting open world sections, which we touched on.
And that's when the skiff comes in.
It's basically like a big ski mobile that has like a wind, like a parachute thing, and you use it to navigate this open world.
And it's really satisfying to drive it because you see where the wind is going. So when you're going that way, your little sail catches it, so it makes you go faster.
You move faster.
Yeah, so, and it kind of reminded me of Sea of Thieves a little bit, because you have to turn the sails or whatever. But with this game, it's satisfying because, like, when you're, on the skiff, you're moving side to side, and, like, I like it because it's realistic, because when you do a hard turn, you, skid a lot. It's so cool.
The driving, the sliding around is pretty realistic. I wouldn't say the wind mechanic is very realistic, because if you drive with the wind, you'll go faster. But if you're going against the wind, you still move pretty fast. Like it's not like Sea of Thieves in that aspect where you have to really be looking at where the wind is going. Like you don't really have to. It's not that realistic in that aspect. But driving it is really fun. Which is a plus because the open world sections are pretty big, and there's a lot of different like outposts and side areas to visit. So it's definitely a plus that it's easy to drive, and it also the skiff also sports little
where it holds your weapons.
Yeah, you can place up to 2 weapons on it. So like your character can hold up to 3 weapons. 2 primaries, a pistol, and a nade, and the skiff can hold 2 more primaries. So with the skiff, you'll be visiting all these places. Most of them are optional, and like the main mission is marked by a special icon. But like we mentioned before, the side missions provide a lot of like the backstory and stuff, so it's definitely worth visiting them. Also because all these locations have attachments and like upgrades for Jack.
Yeah, components and little his passives.
Right. So yeah, it's definitely worth visiting these areas, but you don't have to if you're just interested in the story and you don't really care about taking the time to upgrade Jack or whatever. It won't really be a detriment. I mean, upgrading Jack is definitely worth it because a lot of his little ultimate abilities can turn the tide in some fights, especially on the harder difficulties. I guess the overall flow of the game, it never felt boring, and like it was really good, really well paced. Well, I'd say one negative about the open world sections is that they were pretty empty. I mean, I wouldn't say empty, but like there weren't any dynamic events going on or anything like that to keep you on your toes or anything. A lot of it was just visiting these areas that were in different parts of the map, and there's also like little Easter egg weapons hidden throughout the area, which are really cool to find because they're like special versions of the existing weapons.
Yeah, and the only way you can find those is if you see the red omen. Because when you see the red omen anywhere in the open world, that means there's like a relic weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they're called. They're relic weapons.
Well, for the campaign, just my overall thoughts of it, I mean, it was really good. I liked it more than Gears 4. Because this one had more of like a emotional impact, more of like a attachment to characters, more of more action, and more of a heavier difficulty with some of even the smaller enemies. So that's why I liked it, because this game felt more challenging to go through.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as like the emotional impact goes, I'd probably say this is probably like one of the most engaging emotional stories told. Maybe I'd probably say Gears 2 and Gears 3 had pretty strong emotional impacts also. But as far as my overall thoughts for the campaign, I'd say it's the best Gears campaign, if not maybe tied with Gears 2. I really liked Gears 2 campaign, and just because it was also pretty epic as far as what's going on in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the campaign was really cool. I look forward to going through it again on like the harder difficulties to get the achievements and stuff. But yeah, like everything all around was awesome.
Like, honestly, if you think about it though, like the ratings they're getting, the amount of positivity they're getting for the campaign, imagine how big the next campaign is going to be. Because never mind, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. But I just know that for the next Gears, they are going to make it a lot bigger, because the way this campaign was, the storyline of it, the character plots, character stories, everything was just like at the top of the bar, and it was just perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome.
So those are our campaign thoughts. We think it's a really strong campaign, a campaign that should definitely be experienced by any Gears fan or any action fan in general. It's really great. I'd recommend if you really want to get into this story, but don't have a lot of time to go through the original trilogy, I'd say start with Gears 4 if possible. That way you can at least learn a little bit about the characters and what's going on, because Gears 5 Gears 5 has like a little background video in the menu where you can learn about the original trilogy and Gears 4.
Yeah, but if you really want to like play through the whole thing of Gears 4 and like see what's going on with the characters, maybe just play it and then start Gears 5 so you can get more of a feel of it.
Obviously the most optimal thing would be to experience the original trilogy first. But I'm hesitant to recommend that to people just because it's a pretty long series of games, and you don't want to get burned out on them and then play Gears 5 and then just be totally burned out. If you have the time, go through the original trilogy. They're pretty amazing. The gameplay still holds up. But yeah, definitely recommend this one. So moving on from the campaign to kind of give the broad scope of our review, or to give our review a broad scope of the entire package that you're getting with Gears 5. Some thoughts on the multiplayer. I know we did a multiplayer video recently that kind of discussed the details of multiplayer, but after playing the multiplayer now for a little longer, you already went Prestige once.
Yeah, I already Prestiged.
So yeah, how do you feel that this multiplayer holds up, and do you think it'll keep you playing for a long time?
Yes, because on the multiplayer and everything, you have the tour of duty, and you have like the daily challenges, and then you have like the full like long run challenges that you have to finish. And those challenges, it has little stars, and those stars are what rank you up on tiers for the tour of duty. So I like the multiplayer because you have to complete certain challenges for those, and also the dailies. So it keeps you engaged, and then it also, the one thing that I like about the tour of duty, it keeps you engaged with all game modes. It makes you play all of them and not just stick with one. Because if you want to go higher on the tour of duty, you have to play all three game types. And honestly, they're not even boring. Honestly, I've just been playing more of Escape because of the challenges, but yeah.
For me, I'd probably say that's a small negative. The fact that the tour of duty challenges often make you go play Horde or go play Escape to complete this, because maybe somebody doesn't like Escape, maybe somebody doesn't like jumping into Horde for 25 waves. So I'd probably see that as a small negative, just being considerate towards what other people might like or might not like.
Yeah.
Because I did have a challenge once where it wanted me to complete 25 waves of horde. And you know, if you're playing by yourself or you just don't have a lot of time, you're going to be tempted to skip that challenge. And each day you're allowed to skip one challenge for free, but after that it costs like scrap, I think, or whatever. Like the currency you earn throughout while playing the game.
The next one starts with 10 of the currency, and then 20, and then 30.
Yeah.
So it goes up by 10.
But yeah, Tour of Duty is really cool. It definitely keeps you engaged, especially if you do like playing all the modes.
I just want to add that like this Gears with the Tour of Duty, it makes you unlock things that people say, oh, they're that level, so they probably worked that hard to get that certain like a emotion thing that you can do, like the emotes or whatever.
Yeah, like since nothing is RNG anymore, like random loot boxes.
Yeah.
That progression is there. It's not the best progression system in the world, but you know, it's for what it is, it's decent, and it's not gonna, you know, make people cry in outrage or anything. But
I mean, I like it better than all the Black Ops what they have right now.
Yeah,
like
the Call of Duty stuff is super egregious.
Because right now, like, just unlocking all this stuff, like, I just unlocked the desert Foz or whatever. I'm just thinking, like, heck yeah, I didn't get that I didn't pay $50 to get something like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's no cosmetics that exist right now that really require a lot of skill to get, or a lot of you know, like completing a specific hard challenge or something.
Yeah.
Like all of the cosmetics really just come down to playing a lot. You know, like even if you're bad at the game, if you play enough, you'll eventually unlock all these things. Which is cool. You know, again, being considerate towards other gamers. That's really cool that it gives everybody a chance to unlock these things over time. But for the hardcore people, there's really nothing there to, like, you know, try to fight for or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, but, you know, positive and negative.
I mean, what I saw today on Escape, there's a top 1% tier, top 2% tier, top 3% tier. And I think, like, at the end of the week of that challenge of the Escape mode, you get rewarded. And I saw that tier 1 gets that, like a big, huge melee, like legendary. I think it's either the skin or.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh,
and then
I didn't see that. And
then the top 2% gets like a skin for a weapon, and the top 3 gets XP, I think. Huh. And I'm in the top 3 on one of the escapes.
So you just have to get like a really good time.
You have to have a really good time.
Well, in that case, I stand corrected. I didn't know that existed about the leaderboard tiers.
Yeah, and I didn't know about that until like this morning, because I just saw that there's a leaderboard. And whenever you look on all your skills, or not the skills, but like all the levels for Escape, there it shows your best time in the left corner, on the top left corner. And I was just like looking through it, I'm just like, oh, I'm in the top 3%. That's cool. So
would you say Escape is one of your favorite modes right now? I know you've been playing it a lot, but
Escape is like, it's one of my most played right now.
And it's interesting, like we said in our previous video, that you play the same map over and over again, but it's really engaging because you try to up the difficulty, and you get so used to the map, you learn where all the enemies are and where all the ammo spawns are, that it feels satisfying because you're optimizing your run every time. Yeah. And especially if you have a good team going, it can get really, 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 really fun.
And also, like, with each level increase for the difficulty, different enemies, different bosses appear. So that's what I like. So nothing is the same. Like, there's always a change of enemies. Like, it's either crazier bosses, or the enemies have a lot more health. And it's just, sometimes it can be a horde of juvies. Sometimes it can just be, like, 4 of those overkill drones, yeah. But yeah, I mean, It's fun. I like it. I like the multiplayer thing. But the one thing I want to add though, when I prestiged and Gears 4, when you prestige and when you're in like the main menu, it shows like you're like purple or blue, like
yeah,
whatever.
like a prestige medal.
Yeah. So this one, when you go into a new game, you don't have that prestige medal. The only way you can see it is when you finish a game and it shows you leveling up and it shows that prestige medal there.
I'm sure that's like a bug maybe, or I'm sure they'll fix it because. Yeah, right now there's no way to show other people what prestige you are, which is kind of
you do unlock a banner when you get a prestige. Like it says, it's like one of those foam finger things, like a blood squirt, whatever.
The blood
thing.
spray.
Yeah, the blood spray. So it's like a number 1 finger. So yeah, I mean that's all you get, but like hopefully they fix that soon. So now this is our final verdict of Gears. Ruben, you want to go first? What do you give Gears 5 overall?
So for me, just to kind of wrap it all up, the campaign is amazing, especially if you know the past stories and what this campaign is leading up to in a future game. Really exciting. The Coalition did an amazing job. It's a 4K 60 FPS really on a console. That's that's mind blowing. It's amazing. So yeah, campaign awesome. Multiplayer is gonna keep me coming back for a long time. I know Gears 4 did that. We were still playing the Gears 4 multiplayer up until the release of Gears 5, basically 3 years worth of playtime. So yeah, like retention is there. The modes are awesome. Horde, amazing. Escape is really fun. Hopefully the population, the player base stays here and it's larger than Gears 4. That was one problem with Gears 4 is that the player base died down pretty quick. But now since this game is out also on PC, Steam, as well as the Xbox, maybe more people will stay playing. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give this game a 9.5, I'd say. 9.5 out of 10.
Good score. Yeah. You basically said everything I was going to say, and you gave my rating. And yeah, because my rating was going to be a 9.5 too. Because, I mean, like, with a campaign like this, no other game has made me feel attached to a certain character like that the Coalition developers made. Like, they just got you hooked on the characters, and it's just so crazy. And the multiplayer is just, it's really awesome. With the new escape mode, they really got very brainstormy to create something cool and new and fresh. So, and it's really engaging too, so it's gonna, I mean, like, I'm honestly playing over and over and over and over again. So, yeah, I mean, that's a 9.5 for me.
Alright.
Yeah, so, I just want to thank the Coalition team. I know they're probably never gonna watch this video, but if one of them does come across this video, thank you.
Really great experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. Totally can't wait for the next one. Yeah. But alright, that concludes our whole Gears 5 campaign review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys can, experience that game the way we did. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Deuces.